Hey guys, Steve Petersky, North County Pipeline here, just coming for our weekly recap. Getting this video done a couple days in advance. I'll be out of town for a wedding, but obviously today's story, want to get right into it. Um, Gas prices, yeah, that's been a central theme up in Sacramento for the past couple weeks. The Assembly had a couple contentious, or at least had one contentious committee meeting regarding the proposed new standards from the California Air Resources Board, which are projecting anywhere from 47 to 65 cents or 67 cents increases for gas prices. So there's a lot of animosity and controversy and just battles going on over at the legislature for these gas prices and what it'll do to Californians really. And so in this committee hearing, the chair of CARB, Leanne Randolph, told the committee that the agency doesn't analyze the impacts that their decisions have on residents and the financial impacts of these policies for cleaner air and things of that nature. And so that really tripped out the board, or the committee members, to some. And for me, I editorialize a little bit, but I just don't buy some of the excuses some of the legislators were saying. Like San Diego Assemblyman David Alvarez was, he said, "Well, looks like what the state and regulators have done is increase prices." And well, yeah, like you can't appear shocked and blaming either on maybe Newsom or state agencies when you're on this committee. It was the Utilities and Energy Committee, and people have been telling you for months, if not years, that these decisions are increasing prices, especially the refineries closing. So there's two scheduled to close, one from Phillips 66, one from Valero. It's about 20 to 21% of the state's total refining capacity. So that is one reason why this is coming to a head and really getting on the fast track, because Phillips 66 is slated to shut down in October. I think theirs is about 8% of the state capacity. And so with that, you need more imports. You have less capacity here, so that means prices will go up. And Alvarez, he's been voting on these bills and things of that nature for the last 2 years, and being part of this committee and being probably lobbied by the oil industry and others. There's no way he didn't know that this wasn't going to happen. There's a couple studies that have already come out showing that the new standards from CARB, that's the low carbon fuel standard, so as to incentivize non-fossil fuel sources, so things like ethanol. And to incorporate those more into daily use or for industry and business. And that one, CARB even said it was going to be probably a 47-cent increase. They kind of walked that back. And then there's a report out from the University of Pennsylvania that showed the increase would be anywhere from 47 to maybe 67 cents, and then increase up to about $1.30 or so by 2030, or at least $1. And so that's a big number. It's a lot of money on the backs of people trying to just do their everyday lives, and it's going to impact everything. And then there was another study from the USC that came out showing that, or at least a report analyzing, all things oil and gas in the state, and estimating or projecting that gas prices could top be $8 by the end of next year. I think it's 8.43 a gallon, and there's some places that are already almost $6 in the state. Many counties, about 22 or 23, are right at $5 or over $5. Down here in San Diego, we're about 4.74 ish. So we're only a quarter away from five. And with the new standard from carbs set to go into effect on July 1, plus a 2-cent tax increase on the gas tax from Senate Bill 1, that's it's going to hammer some people, and that's all slated to go in July 1st, and so it's that's going to there's going to have big consequences, and so just expect prices to get more expensive, right? Anything you do in food, less discretionary spending, so less people, fewer people going out to restaurants or movies and other entertainment options, and so it's a real battle up there in the legislature. And so what the Republicans tried to do was they introduced two bills, or they introduced at least one in the assembly to suspend the state constitution, and to vote on their bill AB 12 that would suspend the carb increase. The Democrats voted that down. Same thing kind of happened in the Senate. Brian Jones from San Diego, who represents San Marcos Escondido and some of those areas down to the border, his bill, they got to vote on it, but again, the Democrats voted that down. And so, locally, it's party line vote. So locally, Brian Jones, Carl DeMaio, Lori Davies, they all voted, obviously to stop the gas increases and what CARB was trying to do. And then, Catherine Blakespear, she voted, against SB 2 or 12, whatever bill it was. I'm sorry. So that, and then Tasha Borner on the assembly vote, she didn't register a vote, so no vote recorded, I guess, is kind of what they call it. Darshana Patel, she voted in favor of not or against suspending the Constitution, and then so yeah, just party line votes. That's all it's coming down to. And so we'll see, how this impacts the state of California going forward. But the kind of the writing's already on the wall, and that's why a lot of people are hitting the panic button, demanding action be taken, because it's going to crush low income people for sure. If they have to pay $5, $6, $7, $8 a gallon. There's the transit system just isn't going to work, right, in San Diego or LA or anything like that, to necessitate that many people, accommodate that many people going everywhere. It's going to be really, really difficult. And then, like I said, discretionary spending will be down. Goods and services, those will all increase. Certain professions, you might see people get whittled out. Obviously, logistics companies, your Amazons, UPS, all that stuff, those costs will continue to increase. So, yeah, it's not clear what the Democrats' plan is up in Sacramento. So I'm assuming they're trying to work all hands on deck to keep the refineries open. At least I would hope so. Because if not, then the alternative is importing more oil, and so that's coming via ships. And the state can't regulate those emissions on ships. And if you're not aware, these big vessels, they're not running on unleaded. They're running on a form of crude oil, and so it's very dirty. And even the regulators in front of the committee about 2 weeks ago admitted that it would probably cause more emissions, and they'll just be sitting out there in these in the bays near the ports, unloading all this fuel and causing more emissions, dirtier water. And that's probably, dirty water is not something we want to hear down here in San Diego, but up in LA, Long Beach, Port Oakland, San Francisco, things of that nature. Yeah, it's going to be it, a lot dirtier. And so that's kind of where they're at. And it's just an interesting battle. It seems like it'd be a no brainer, for the Dems to, want to clamp down on high gas prices heading into the 2026 election. Especially Gavin Newsom. Like, I mean, if this continues to rise, the presidential hopes are all but done. And yeah, so it's an interesting battle, and we'll see kind of if North County legislators how they react, and if they're make any statements about it or come out and justify their positions. Obviously, like Brian Jones and Lori Davies and Carl DeMaio have been very open on that. Borner and Patel have not. So it'd be nice to hear from them, those two at least, and to justify their votes, what's going on behind the scenes. And Borner is on that committee, so her and Lori Davies, and so love to hear some insight from Borner on kind of is there a plan? What is the plan? How do they execute it? How do they make sure they don't put more people into the poorhouse or on the breadlines or even into homelessness? Really, that's a legit concern for those who are already on the brink. If you can't afford, and if you're struggling to afford getting to work, $8 a gallon, it isn't going to help with that. And a transit pass or a bus pass might not work for everyone. So, and especially in a state with 40 million people, so it just like to hear from them, really, and pick their brain on what are these decisions, and why you're doing it. Um, so yeah, that's all the rage up in Sacramento. Here locally, one of the big issues was Jimmy Figueroa, Oceanside City Councilman. He pivoted on his vote for raising the pride flag in Oceanside a couple weeks ago. He's caught all kinds of flack from and backlash online from the LGBTQ community for changing his decision. And basically, what it comes down to is he said that. He thinks government should remain neutral. He said he thought about it for 2 weeks because he initially supported the item, and he had lots of conversations with lots of different people, and then just kind of landed on the government stay out of the bedroom type of thing, and not raise the flag. Obviously, Max Esposito, or just yes, Spody from the LGBTQ center up in Oceanside, not happy, and many others were not happy, and really taking Figueroa to task on that. While in Vista, they voted to raise the pride flag again, so they've done that consecutive years. I think maybe 3 or 4 years now. And they have two gay councilwomen, Karina Contreras and Katie Melendez. So that was very personal for them, and heartfelt speeches from them on why it's important for them to raise it. But definitely this is a still an issue, and a hot button one for that. And so yeah, it's been a couple big weeks or hard weeks, I guess, for Figueroa. He's taken a lot of flack. But then again, there's also some who have really supported him on it too, and applauding his decision for the city to just kind of stay in its lane and not engage in the flag, I guess, controversy or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we'll see, how that issue, evolves over the coming months, or and then rolling into next year, because Figueroa's only been on council for a brief time since last year. He was just elected, so we still got another 3 years to go, and so we'll see if he ever changes his mind on that. And then also staying in Oceanside, Jitter's Coffee Pub kind of spruced itself up. I did a little bit of a nice renovation, added some brighter colors, some new features, new bathroom, and they added a little stage. And so with that, Grammy Award-winning musician Jason Mraz, an Oceanside farmer. He's been longtime friends of the owners and the chef, and so he's been really helping them kind of with this new plan, because Valley, the co-owner, she said that she wasn't sure if she wanted to sell it or give it another go, as this takes a lot of time. It's her and her husband that run Jitters, and so trying to do shows and events and charity and things of that nature. It really takes a strain on just two people, and so they recruited Mraz and some others, and so they're going to help out. Mraz is even going to serve some coffee from time to time. He's going to provide some food from his farm with avocados and coffee beans and citrus, and so what they want to do is create a obviously they've created the space, and so get some live shows, comedy shows, things of that nature. They upgraded a sound system, and then with their menu, they've kind of always been vegetarian. But what they're going to do is really kind of cool and smart, is basically make it, there's a plant forward or plant based or vegetarian, whatever you want to call it, menu. So, but it's seasonal. So as crops, different crops come in a season, those will be the featured things on the menu. So you always won't have avocado toast, for a whole year. So maybe for 6 months or so, 8 months, since Mraz grows two varieties of avocados. So from February through basically, I think, September, October, he said. So that allows them to at least have access to avocados, and then, but yeah, and then mix it up, different other things. And so yeah, they're going to be kicking off some community events here soon, and informal kind of like grand openings in the next month or so. So that's in my story, and you can also check out their website or Facebook page, Instagram, things of that nature, and get some more deets on that. But it's a real fun little spot. It's been around for 30 plus years, and it's a cool local spot and joint, and that's kind of what they wanted, to make a community feel, not have some faceless corporation kind of come in and just create that, turnkey and robotic line of people just kind of going through, but having something where people can just kind of come and hang out and get to know new people and and really kind of stay embedded within the downtown Oceanside and the community. So really cool. But yeah, so that's all I have for you guys today. Again, thank you so much for subscribing and reading and watching. And I really appreciate you guys if you share this and recruit some of your friends to subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys next week.